know exactly where your opponent spawns. We haven't really seen players do too much cheese on this map. Typically, it works out where the Protoss goes for that forge fast expand, and it works out into a a 2 base versus 3 base early going. So we'll see what Hasu chooses to do. He's a pretty standard Protoss player. Like I said, his macro games and his standard play have been quite impressive the last several weeks, and he definitely has his work cut out for him going up against xSix's Zerg Dominator in the early going of Wednesday Night StarCraft and xSix McKenzie.
All right, we'll see what's going to happen here. I knew that xSix was going to be a very, very difficult matchup for vVv. Hopefully, Hasu will be able to at least put a dent in the armor or in the dent in the players of xSix, as xSix's McKinnon spawning as the teal Zerg player over here on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, we do have Hasu as the green Protoss player on the bottom left-hand side of the map. We'll see what the strategies will be. Cloud Kingdom, there is this front door positioning here that I believe does allow for a pretty good forge fast expansion, and we'll see what's going to go down here in just a moment.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like all the newer maps really tailored for that forge fast expand. I know there are very few maps in the map pool. I think Metalopolis, where it's difficult to forge fast expand, and they sort of play a stranger game. A lot of Protoss players try to force it there, but maps like this, it's pretty easy. Like you said, a small choke there. They can put a pylon if they want, so that they can break it down and have an easy access outway later on in the game, where they can use all those high HP buildings and just take down a forge or a gateway later in the game to bust out. So Hasu does have his first initial probe in the base of McKenzie, so he sees that there's no early pool. He's not going to have to worry about that. Just now wants to get the pool and the hatchery timing and go from there.
All right, we'll see what's going to happen next. Oh, no, it is going to be a little bit of a change. McKenzie opting to go for a pool. And I like this play, especially as Hasu now purposely just patrolling with this one probe here. We can see that a forge is now being established as opposed to a nexus first. And the spawning pool was only placed down after the probe had left. So at some point, Hasu, yes, he is going to warp in a pylon down here on the low ground, make his way off onto the high ground, spot that spawning pool, and say, okay, at what time will those Zerglings be knocking on my front door?
Yeah, pool first a little bit more standard. I was actually surprised the McKenzie went hatch first in the last game, but we saw that Ruff actually, wow, a cannon going down, so that's really going to prevent the expansion for quite a bit of time. Now we see four drones pulled off here, so the drone's first going to work on this cannon. I imagine a cancel will be coming from Hasu at the right time, and then they're going to have to start working on that pylon. So the expansion going to be so delayed here coming out from the Zerg player.
All right, we'll see what's going to happen. Down to 9. Oh, there's the cancellation. I like the fact that McKinnon, he pulled away with his drones. Like, okay, most likely Hasu will cancel it right now. And he didn't cancel. He's like, no, I'm going to wait until the very, very last second to cancel it, to delay. And with that, with those 4 drones or 3 drones not mining for quite some time, and that one drone waiting to grow up to be a hatchery, I'm not quite sure who actually lost more resources. 137, I think, resources lost for Hasu, but McKinnon did lose a bit of mining time as well.
Yeah, and his expansion actually going to be a little bit behind the Nexus 4 Hasu. So here come these Lings across the field, 4 of them slow Lings. They're going to take a lot of damage from this cannon, but they could get into the base here, get some scouting information if they choose to. And here we see the Lings do go by, so 1 or 2 Lings will go down, but a few do make it in here. He's going to see the double gas going down, and this is so annoying as a Protoss player, having these Lings in your base to try to pick off just a probe or 2. 1 probe does go down, so already an early victory there from McKenzie. These Lings really paying for themselves with harassment and scouting information. We have the gateway about to finish for Hasu. Another probe goes down. McKenzie doing a really nice job microing these Lings. You see there was 1 or 2 in the red, but just this natural regeneration keeps these Lings alive. If he's able to get another probe, and it looks like he will, 3 probes do go down. McKenzie taking a lot of early small victories here.
All right, over here at the 12 o'clock location, you see McKinnon is setting up his 3rd hatchery, but McKinnon does spot that there is a photon cannon here. Not quite sure what is going to go down here in just a moment. A hatchery is going to get canceled here, and now we'll see what Hasu is going to do. Hasu is going to allow that photon cannon to finish. And so far, the Zerglings still dancing around. 1 Zergling left, finally getting finished off by a probe. Worker kills 5 for McKinnon.
That's huge.
That is huge. 28 drones versus 23 probes right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now it would be even, like 30 to 24, 29 to 24, and instead Hasu is behind. Obviously, he was going to constantly create probes anyway, but it's just going to be a little bit behind. Each of those probes could have, mined their few minerals per minute, and it adds up as the game goes on.
All right, one thing to note, Hasu does know about this third base being established by McKinnon in the center portion of the map. A photon cannon and pylon could be worked in on the high ground and on the low ground as well. We'll see what's going to happen here. Hasu just kind of protecting his proxy pylon back over here, and because of the limited surface area, I don't believe it could get taken down until we finally get into roaches.
Yeah, so it looks like Warp Gate Tech being chronoed out by Hasu already has got one Stalker about to pop out, so he might put up some early pressure on that third, and this is a really awkward third base for McKenzie to take. He's not going to have creep spread there for quite a while, so any sort of early gateway timing by a Protoss really going to be able to take advantage of that positioning, and we see that's exactly what Hasu is going for. It's going to be at least 6 gates here with +1, so I'm not sure whether he'll go Zealot heavy or Stalker heavy. It'll really depend on what McKenzie decides to defend with a Roach Warren coming down, but that third is out on an island, and we already see the Stalker working on it. If he can get that hatchery down to, maybe a third or 2/3 health, it could be much easier for this gateway push to take down.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to be happening next. There is a proxy pylon now up on the high ground. Photon cannons could be added there. A Zergling's now going to try to come in and surround this Stalker. They will be able to do exactly that. And I believe the Zerglings now need to focus onto this one pylon here. But yes, they are going to be focusing down that pylon. There is already another backdoor pylon established by Hasu, and units could be warping in there in just a moment.
Yeah, so he's got a nice pylon or two established. He's got the Zealots out here with his +1, easily able to take on the Lings, and he's actually able to warp onto the below ground right next to this hatchery. And again, the units are going to take a while to get from the natural and the main to this third, just because of the distance. The next round, I imagine, will be Stalkers coming out here now that he does see Roaches. In fact, it's going to be just one Stalker and still more and more Zealots coming out. Zealots trade pretty decently with Roaches as long as the Roaches don't kite. But as long as McKenzie is kiting with these Roaches, he should be able to focus down these Stalkers quite easily, or some of the Zealots quite easily. McKenzie, some pretty decent trades. He will be able to save this hatchery, I imagine, just because the warp ends here will not be able to sort of, snowball into a win for the Protoss. But some pretty decent pressure put on there by Hasu, but I imagine he really wanted to be able to take down that third.
Yeah, McKinnon now in a really great shape and form. In the middle of that battle, before all the Stalkers were cleaned up, he did train up 8 additional drones. So he is now sitting on a 52 to 39 worker advantage at this stage in the game. And this island expansion, which is normally very difficult for a Zerg player to defend, as you mentioned, was pretty easily defended. I gotta say, McKinnon, just with that supply lead, still having a 40 supply advantage at this point. And we'll see what Hasu tries to do. He is going into a robotics facility, double robotics facility, in fact, and we may see either Immortals or Colossi.
And this is such a scary time as a Protoss. Your initial gateway attack failed. You've got to transition. Okay, I'm going to transition in double robotics. Going to get out maybe 3 or 4 Immortals before I push out again. But in that time, that 3 or 4 minutes it takes to tech up there and get your Immortals out, the Zerg can just do whatever he wants. Looks like McKenzie going to be pumping a lot of Roaches, perhaps going for a two attack timing here with a bunch of Roaches and Roach speed. It's crashing on that second of Hasu, preventing that third. But McKenzie could take a fourth if he wanted. Instead, it looks like he's just going to be macroing up and continuing to pump a lot of Roaches, hoping to max out pretty soon.
All right, the Roaches do have faster movement speed against that Stalker. The Stalker trying to get away. It is going to actually bait the Roaches at least far away on the bottom right-hand side of the map. Finally going to get... Oh, it is going to finally get taken down, but it is buying time for this... for those Immortals to be trained right now. And if there's not that many Zerglings on the field and just mass Roaches, and with sentries, these Immortals just might be what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, we'll see. Already the supply lead, 173 to 88, and Hasu is basically stuck on 2 bases. This is going to have to be a 2-base all-in with these 4 Immortals. He's going to be pumping nothing but gateway units from here on out, and he's got to win the game here, in my opinion, because he is just going to be so far behind. A fourth base already established by McKenzie. McKenzie does have some roaches out on the field here. If he's able to trap some of those with force fields, he could help himself out immensely. Gets one roach there, but McKenzie knows what's up at this point. Just nonstop roaches will be coming out. A infestation pit is going to be complete in just a moment as well, and we've got a roach drop about to hit the main base of Hasu. This is going to keep him on his heels. He's not going to be able to get a third up. He's not going to be able to push out and attack off these two bases. He's in some trouble.
Yeah, let's see what's going to happen here with the roaches now charging in on the front door. There are some force fields roaches. Immortal's also getting a little bit of additional armor here. Beautifully done. Taking down, trading against those roaches. Roaches now going to be able to snipe down this Nexus as the Stalkers are now looking to come in and focus down these roaches here. The roaches are going to be able to finish off that Nexus with absolutely no problem whatsoever. Immortal's now coming in, perhaps from the low ground, can be able to battle it up. And here we go. We are going to have an engagement now. The Guardian Shield is helping out. The Immortals need to push forward together, take down all of these roaches. The roaches to pretty much have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Even if they jump back up into those Overlords, they will get shot down there, as we now see more roaches coming in on the front door.
Yeah, but great trades there from McKenzie. 153 to 60. He was able to take down a Nexus there and take down a lot of the units of Hasu. Hasu was over 100 supply, and the roaches just continue in on the natural, working on the second Nexus. That'll go down in just a moment. And with that, there's the sad face and the GG. McKenzie is on a roll so far, taking down the first three players that vVv has put up against him.